Hi, everyone. Good to see you. So my project is really building on a couple of years of reporting that I've been doing about dust in the West. And, that naturally just has gotten me interested in air quality and public health. And so I'm doing a whole series of stories that really look at this nexus between environmental degradation, air quality, public health, and with a specific aim to looking at emerging contaminants of concern. So things like mega wildfires, toxic algal blooms, and microplastics. So I've been, really trying to, I did a lot of reporting on the Salton Sea and the Great Salt Lake in the last couple of years. And so looking at this kind of worldwide problem of these shrinking terminal lakes that are full of pesticides and metals and all kinds of good stuff, and they're shrinking, and the playa dust is then airborne or very emissive. And so really, I've been asked to help co-chair a panel discussion at the European Geosciences Union in April in Vienna. And so I'm reaching out to scientists all over the world who have been studying, everything from Lake Urmia in Iran to the Aral Sea to Lake Chad to all of these different, this is just a global phenomenon, a global problem in the face of climate change. And so what are we going to do with better understanding and kind of coalescing all of this knowledge gained from all of these different perspectives? So I've been having to put a lot of emphasis and focus on that right now because we're trying to assemble this panel for an April meeting. And then I'll be able to interview people and be on site there and hopefully do some more reporting overseas. So that's one aspect of what I've been working on. And then also really looking at, basically all the ways that we're breathing our environmental mismanagement. So I'm going to be going to a couple of eutrophied lakes that have nearly constant toxic algal blooms. And there's a whole cadre of scientists that I've found that are doing some of the first investigations of how much of the toxins can be aerosolized and what is the impact of that. And so there's a lake in Ohio that has a nearly constant algal bloom that I'm going to be traveling to also in April and talking to people there. And then I know of some work that's happening at the Salton Sea that's going to be coming out soon, that's going to be kind of looking at the same phenomenon. And so really trying to understand what this, I would say, of all of the things I'm looking at, is probably the most kind of cutting edge or new emerging contaminant of concern that people are really just starting to grapple with and understand. And then lastly, just, looking at microplastics, looking at, how much of it is airborne, how much is getting ingested, and looking at different communities that are grappling with this issue. So like Houston, I'm off to Houston in January, and there's a whole plastics conference. And I've also built in some time to talk to other groups that are looking at just broader impacts of air pollution in the Houston area from industry, and just how all of these interacting factors are causing a lot of unnecessary mortality in the region. And lastly, a big focus, I think, from all of us is focusing on the marginalized communities. And so there's been a lot of work that's come out recently about indigenous populations and how air quality in counties that have higher numbers of indigenous populations have worse air quality. And so I am reaching out, and there's several scientists that have done a lot of work in the last couple of years specifically on this. And I'm reaching out to tribal air quality specialists and really trying to make sure that the issues that they're facing are being raised and given the attention that they need. So that's kind of where my efforts are going. And it's just like a kid in a candy store. I just get to do all of the cool interviews that I want to do all day long. And I'm really, really appreciative.